So in our last two videos regarding SQL instance, we have understood about the features and how to create the SQL instances. And in the previous video also, we understood about the users and the database options in the SQL instance. In this video, let's go through, let's understand about a few other important things like import, export, backup, and replica. And before that, at the very first time when we created the instance, when we are checking for the CPU utilization, it was 0, right? But now if you see, we could see some spike around some more than 10% it went. It was around some 14-15% it went. Because for the very first time when we created, there was no usage, but we have performed some activity, right? By creating some databases, we created a table, inserted data, and we played with it, so that we are seeing some data utilization, sorry, CPU utilization. And also you can see SQL queries. See, we are seeing some utilization. So in a production, when you have a multiple, in a production you could see multiple informations in the graph. Okay, fine. Let's understand about import and export. So as you know, restart is about restarting the instance, and stop is to hold, means stop the instance, and delete will delete. Clone is to create a duplicate instance with the same feature. Fine. So let's understand about import and export. Export is the same as like the name suggests, export. You are exporting the databases, this cloud instance, to the bucket. Okay, so let's see how to do it. If you click here, it would be asking you to create a bucket. Okay, so before that you need to define the file format, in which file format you would like to export the data. So are you going to have with the SQL plain text file with a sequence of SQL command like output of MySQL dump, or you want to have a CSV export plain text with one line per row, comma separated files? So either one you can choose. Okay, so if you're going with CSV, you'd be seeing a row based thing, but this one would be giving the complete dump of the instance. Fine. Again, either you can export the entire instance, or else you can also export based on the databases. Say for example, if you have around some 10 databases in production, you can export any specific databases based on your requirement as well. So in order to do so, if you, by default it would be entire instances, and if you want to export any specific database, you can choose this option and select that database. Maybe I can just go with the same one, means the specific database. I'll choose classroom one database, because in this database we have created a table and we inserted one row. Okay, fine. And this destination, basically it is asking for the bucket information. Okay, if you click browse, it will be giving you the list of bucket information, and if you don't have any, it would suggest you to create it. Okay, you need to create a bucket, nothing but a container. Basically your export, we already discussed about buckets in our previous sections, right? So we are exporting this data to that bucket, and from there we can access it. I'll just give my a name of a bucket. As you know, the name of a bucket should be globally unique. MySQL in bucket. Fine. And continue. Region, it's fine to go with the default one. Single region is fine as it's a demonstration. Storage class standard is okay. And uniform control is fine. Just creating it. So now the bucket is created. Okay, so this bucket is created, and this is the file name of this instance that is going to be exported to that bucket. So once you click here, this select, then it would be exported to the bucket. So now what you can do, you can just open other window, and here you can search with bucket. Okay, so if you can search with bucket, or you can go to the cloud storage and select the bucket. I'm just searching here as bucket. So now, once you searched with the name bucket and click enter, hit enter, you would be coming to the bucket console, bucket dashboard. If you see, this is the bucket which we have created now to export the data from the SQL instance. Okay, I can just click it. So this is the bucket which we have created now, right? If you see here, there is no data that is available, means there is no object available within the bucket, because what we have done, uh, we have just created a bucket and we have selected it. However, we have not exported the data from the SQL instance, because we just went to the browse and we have selected the file name, that's it. And then we have came here to the bucket to see whether the bucket is created, and it is created now. However, there is no object within the bucket. So in order to see the object here, what we should do, we should continue here to export, because we already selected it should be in a SQL format, and the database we want is classroom1, and now bucket is selected. Click export. So once it is done, you can see the newly created object over here. So if you can see the progress here as well. So once it is done, you can see a green color tick mark, a tick mark in the green color round symbol. Yes, it is done. So let me go and check within the bucket now. Okay, let me refresh the browser here. If I refresh my browser, see, the new object is created in the bucket. We have not manually, created or uploaded files here. It is automatically exported from the SQL instance. Okay, I'm just clicking this object. So this is the authenticated URL, right? So if you click here, you can download the SQL instance. Okay, it is downloaded as the notepad, because this is the format we choose, the SQL format, right? If you have choose the other format, which is CSV, it would be downloaded in the CSV format. See, all the informations regarding to database, the classroom one is available. So student is the table that we have created. We have used this classroom one database, basically starting from creating the database. Classroom one is created, and then we have used classroom one, and within that we have created a table, and so created a table student, and where we have added value, the ID is 7 and name is Shiva. Okay, so this is how you can export your SQL instance. Fine. Okay, so this is how you can export your SQL instance, the database. As like the same, there is an option to import as well. It is similar to the export. How you have exported the database, you can also import the same by clicking here. You can choose from which bucket you want to import. This is the bucket we have created, right? I can click here and can click here, select the file, and you can select it. Say for example, you have deleted the database and you want to restore it. That is also possible. Okay, this is how you can import it. And which format you want to do it means basically from which format you are importing, you can mention here, and to which destination you want to do so, within classroom or to some other destination, and you can click import. So as soon as you click import, that file whichever you have imported, you are importing under this classroom, right, it would be reflected there. Fine. So this is how you can import. We have yeah, apart from that, restart, as you know, we have discussed this. Then it comes backup. So as I said earlier, in the very first video of Cloud SQL, whenever you're creating a Cloud SQL instance, first backup will be created automatically. Okay, and you can also make it automated backup. So we have enabled it. That's the reason you are seeing is like it is enabled, and the backup time window is 4:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. So once if I come across this time, right, GCP will automatically take a backup, and I can see one more line here as like at what time the backup was taken and where it is available. So that information will be available here. Also, in addition to that, we can also create backup on demand. So in order to get a backup, I can click here. You are going to do any activity. So in that kind of a situation, if you want to take backup on demand, then you can just come here to backup, and you'd be seeing an option as like create backup. Click it, and if you want, you can specify the location as well. Just create. It would take some time, right? You'd be seeing the progress here. So once it is successfully done, you'd be seeing the similar symbol here as well. Let me fast forward. Okay, I have fast forwarded it. And if you could see, now the backup is created on demand. So now we have a new backup. Okay. And okay, maybe let's try to restore that and see how it works. One thing is, if you check here, by default, when we start this previous video, if you refer the previous video, right? So by default, when we create the instance, we saw only this four databases, right? The information schema, MySQL, performance schema, and sys. And this classroom 1 and classroom 2 is the databases that which we have created. It's not an automated one. As I said earlier, this backup is the first one, right? This is one which is automatically taken at the time of instance created. Okay, if in case if I restore this backup to this instance, then what happened? Then it will come to the initial set of configurations, as like the newly created database would be gone. Okay, I'll show you how to do it. So basically, restore is something. If something happens, so just for an example, you're doing some activity, or you're doing some activity, and by mistake you have deleted something, and you deleted some databases, and it went. Okay, and if you want to recreate a new one, what you can do, before activity you'd be taking a backup, right? Basically, restoring is to restore the old configuration, so that all the databases which you have deleted by accident also would be come again. So now I'm just restoring with the very initial backup which was taken at the time of this instance creation, that has only four databases. So once I restore it, the newly created four will be deleted. Means basically it's not deleted. Uh, this instance is coming with the default configurations. Okay. I'm just clicking restore in order to restore the configuration. Okay. So this is the instance name. If you have a multiple, you can select that. And source, backup time means basically it's a kind of a double confirmation, as like which backup you want to restore. It is taken at this point of time, or you really want to restore the same. Yes, the same. And you should confirm the instance name here, MySQL ENG. Okay, I'm just click restore. It would take some time to restore the configurations, and until then, that let me fast forward it. Okay, so far it took more than 2 hours and 30 seconds. I'm just waiting for it. Still, if you see here also, it is not, the tick mark is not yet came, and here as well, it is loading. Okay, so let me fast forward until it's created. Okay, so இப்போ வந்து now it's created. It took around more than 4 minutes to restoring the configurations. So if you go and check the databases now, see, now we are seeing only four databases which was created at the time of this instance was created with the default databases. The two other databases which we have created during our demonstration, it's not available here because we have restored the entire configurations. Okay, so this is how you can restore it. Also, if you go back again, so now we have other backup, right, which was taken a few minutes before. So if in case we restore it by clicking here, what happens? Again, we can see the two databases which we have created, because this backup is taken recently now. Okay, uh, after creating those databases. So it has the recent configuration changes. It has the recent configurations, which includes the database creations as well. So once we restore it, when the device means when this instance come back, we can see the databases again. Fine. So this is how you can back up and restore it. Replica is something you can create the same the same as a read replication. Okay, how to create it? You can just click create replica. You can give any name here. By default, it is taking following to your name of the SQL instance. It will be add replica. Okay, just create replica. And it's created, and also we can see the utilization and other live informations here. Okay, so once it's created, right, it's in the process of creating. Once it's created, as like MySQL instance, the whichever instance we have created, we can see in the name of the same instance following to that replica, means basically we can it's a kind of a read only to the same instance. We can see the live informations from that as well without disturbing it. It would take few minutes to create. It took me around 5 minutes to create this replica. I have just fast forwarded it. So all instance, if you see now we have the main instance, okay, and we also have a read replication of the same instance. So if you click here, here too we can see the same information, just like the CPU utilization, the SQL queries, and all the other informations as well related to the main instance. So this is what a replica is, and one pending is operations, right? You just click here in operations. It would be listing out all the detailed informations that we performed within the SQL instances, like the backup we created, the replica we created, and restoring the backup. If we create any database, that information. So basically, whatever operation relevant uh, activities you are performing within the SQL instances will be shown here. So this is what operations is. So we have covered the entire cloud SQL. We understood about cloud. We see how to create the cloud SQL instance, and we gone through with the overview, users, connections. Connections is basically the public or private one. So then users, database, backup, replica, and operations. In our next section, let's see about cloud spanner.